My sister and her husband are getting a divorce. He moved out of the family home and filed. My sister didn't see it coming, despite warnings that it could happen because she went behind his back. The story basically goes, she married him knowing he had absolutely no interest in having his mom, stepdad, or half-siblings in his life. He didn't like his stepdad. He didn't want half-siblings. That was something everyone in our family knew. He was open about having no desire for contact. My sister married him, had kids with him, and then decided he was wrong to deny his family for being steps and halves, so she was making contact and introducing the kids behind his back. She argued with him when he found out and said if nobody else, his half-siblings deserved to be included because they're the most innocent in his family. They didn't ask to be born and weren't a part of any of the wrongs his mom and stepdad did. He told her he wanted nothing to do with them, and they weren't his real siblings anyway. He also told her she had gone behind his back and betrayed his trust, and he was not going to stand for it or allow their kids to see that man as grandpa or those kids as aunts and uncles. My sister doesn't want her marriage to end, but has also been pissed at her husband because he's correcting stuff she told their kids about the stepdad and half-siblings, and has told their kids they, stepdad, half-siblings, are not family and stuff. She's mad at him for that because the kids are more resistant now to contact with their paternal side and don't call them grandparents, aunts, uncles anymore. But she also doesn't want to divorce her husband. It's a mess. It's crazy. My parents are encouraging her to open up and stuff, to talk about it. I'm less sympathetic and patient. It's 6 months on from him filing, and I can't be around my extended family without hearing about this. My sister goes from bad-mouthing her husband to saying she hopes he calls off the divorce and they can work out and be a family again. My sister also tries to talk to me just one-on-one about it. I think my reason for being so indifferent to this, annoyed about hearing it, is because she knew how he felt. She knew what his boundaries were regarding his family. She had a choice not to marry him. She had a choice not to go behind his back. To expect he'd be fine with it when she knew, regardless of what anyone thinks of his actions, hers were not that smart and should not come as a surprise, and I don't feel bad for her. I do, however, feel bad for the kids caught in the middle. When my sister tried to talk about the divorce again 2 or 3 days ago, I asked her to stop talking about it with and around me. She asked how I could be so cold, and I told her it wasn't like people didn't warn her. My parents did before they got married because they didn't love how her husband felt about the half-siblings. And hearing about this over and over is getting so old. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Honestly, I give you credit for not telling your sister. Look, think of it this way. You won. On your holidays with the kids, you can invite whoever you want. Us. X's bio family. Sure, you'll only get every other holiday, but when it's your holiday, you'll get to do whatever you want, and that's clearly what you wanted to be able to do. Have the final say regardless of how anyone else felt. Not the jerk. I can't wait to see how this goes with marriage number 2. Comment 2. Not the jerk. The kids are only related to the mother, not the steps, and her husband didn't have a relationship with his mother's step-family by choice. His choice, which is his right. Sis had no right to decide she knew better. I would have divorced her too. Now, for the update. The day after my last convo with my sister, she called me in a panic about a letter she got. I was just about to eat my breakfast when my phone started blowing up. It was my sister, sounding like a total mess. She was freaking out about this letter she'd gotten, and I honestly thought it was just more of the same drama. But nope, this was from her husband's lawyer, detailing a court date for child custody. Like, are you kidding me? My sister was frantic, worried about losing her kids during the divorce process. She kept saying how she couldn't believe it was coming to this, and I just sat there thinking, well, you kind of set this whole mess in motion, didn't you? She asked me to come over and help her figure things out. So there I was, shoveling eggs in my mouth and trying to get my shoes on. I finally made it over to her house, and she's pacing back and forth like crazy. She's clutching this letter like it's super important. She looks like a wreck, and I honestly can't even feel bad for her at this point. She reveals she has been in contact with his family again, trying to convince them to support her. Are you freaking kidding me? I can't believe she's going down this path again. I noticed the kids were watching TV in the living room, oblivious to the tension. They were just sitting there, probably thinking everything was normal, and all this chaos was happening around them. While my sister went to grab some water, I took a moment to talk to the kids. I asked them how they felt about their dad and his family. They mentioned they missed their dad and didn't understand why he was upset. Kids are so innocent, right? They still think this is all going to have a happy ending. My sister returned with a worried look, clearly eavesdropping on our convo. She accused me of trying to manipulate the kids against her. I was just like, what the heck? I walked out, feeling frustrated with her constant blame shifting. Later that week, our parents invited us all for Thanksgiving dinner. My sister insisted on bringing the kids, hoping to show off their family unity. I mean, who are you trying to kid here? Everyone knew what she was doing. During dinner, she kept bringing up how much fun the kids had with their dad's family. You could tell she was trying to tug at our parents' heartstrings. Her husband walked in unexpectedly, clearly there to see the kids. The atmosphere changed in an instant, and you could cut the awkwardness with a knife. He confronted her about talking to his family again. The kids were confused, asking if they were going to see their grandpa. My sister tried to calm them down, but her husband was relentless. He pointed out how she had disrespected his wishes yet again. I sat back, watching the chaos unfold, feeling exhausted by the drama. After a heated exchange, her husband stormed out, leaving my sister in tears. My parents tried to mediate but ended up arguing with each other instead. The kids started crying, unsure of what was happening, which only made things worse. I stepped in to take the kids outside, hoping to distract them from the mess. We played tag in the yard, but I could still hear my sister and parents fighting inside. A few days later, my sister called again, this time sounding more determined. She mentioned she had a plan to confront her husband's family directly. I was skeptical, but listened as she laid out her plan. She told me she would invite them over for a family meeting to discuss the kids. I warned her about potential backlash, but she insisted it was necessary. The day of the meeting arrived, and the atmosphere was tense. Her husband's family arrived, looking unsure of what to expect. My sister tried to play nice, but the convo quickly turned hostile. I watched as her husband showed up unexpectedly, catching everyone off guard. He demanded to know why his family was there, and the situation escalated. My sister stood her ground, arguing that the kids deserved to know their family. In a sudden twist, her husband's mother revealed a hidden family secret that shocked everyone. I mean, what the heck? This secret was a total bombshell. My sister looked like she was hit by a truck, and honestly, so did everyone else. The kids were there too, and they didn't get what was going on, but you could see they were scared. I just felt so drained from this whole thing, like I was in some twisted reality show that never ended. I took the kids out of the room to play, but I couldn't shake the feeling that everything was falling apart. And it was all because of my sister's choices. She just can't see how her actions have led us here, and I don't even know how to help her anymore. It's just so messed up, and I'm just over it all. I don't know what else to say. Thank you for listening. To answer a few questions, my sister's husband has primary custody of the kids, meaning they live with him most of the time. The kids are aware of the divorce, but don't fully grasp all the details. They've met his family before, but the interactions were limited. My sister's main concern is that his family will try to influence the kids against her. My sister's husband is not trying to keep the kids away from their grandpa, but wants to protect them from the family drama. Am I the idiot for refusing to sit with my sister and her husband at the doctor's office? Am I the idiot for keeping my medical info private and ignoring my sister's meltdown? So I, a 20-year-old female, had gone to the doctor for a yearly checkup. I knew my sister, who is 29 years old, and my brother-in-law, who is also 29 years old, were going to be there due to them having their own appointment. I walked into the doctor's office and saw my brother-in-law sitting by himself, so I said hi and asked if my sister had already gone back. He said yes, and he was just waiting for her to come out again. I go to check in and was told I had to fill out some paperwork. They will call me back in a few minutes, and if I don't finish the paperwork by then, I can take it with me and give it to the nurse. I sat down to fill it out when my sister comes back out. She has to stay for a bit for observation due to the test she took. So they were talking over in the corner where they sat. She asked me why I was sitting away from them, and I told her I was doing paperwork. My brother-in-law, being the jokester he is, said she thinks I stink, so she's sitting over there. At this point, I had finished the paperwork and hadn't been called back yet, so I go talk to them until I'm called back. I finish my appointment, I see they are still there when I come out, and I say bye and wish them a good day. I finish work and get a message from my sister saying she still can't believe I did that to her husband. I ask, "What do you mean?" And she starts saying that me not sitting by her husband at the doctor's office was rude and disrespectful of me, and that it clearly shows what type of relationship I want to have with them. She stated that if I had seen my friends, I would have sat with them, but the fact that I used doing paperwork as an excuse is disgusting of me, and we are no longer sisters. I said I had to do the paperwork, and I didn't know I had offended or hurt anyone by not sitting next to her at the office. I told her we were there for different things, and I didn't think it mattered. I also didn't want him potentially seeing my paperwork due to it being a private matter, and she said that he's my brother, and he has the right to know what's going on with me, just like she does. I told her no, and left it at that. Now she is bombarding my mother and father with phone calls and messages, trying to get them to side with her. They tell her we are both adults and we have to work it out. If we don't, then so be it. She tried to get my dad to say he would sit next to them because she asked him if he saw them in public if he would go sit with them, and he said he probably wouldn't due to being there for different reasons. She's now mad at him too, and we just don't know what to do anymore. Any advice would be appreciated. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, your sister's a jerk. I'd usually go with the acronym, but I feel she deserves the whole word. No, your brother-in-law doesn't deserve to see what's going on with you. That's absurd. There are laws to protect medical information. It's a big thing. You don't go to the doctor to socialize. You don't chat while you're filling out paperwork. I have no earthly idea why your sister went nuclear over these issues, but she absolutely went nuclear. Honestly, I would have just said no, he does stink LOL and left it there. But you're a sweetheart for trying to work it all out in a civil fashion. Comment 2. She says, he's your brother, and he has the right to know what's going on with you, just like she does. No one has the right to know your medical information except your healthcare professional, you and parent or legal guardian if you're underage. There's a reason there are strong federal laws regarding this. Your sister doesn't even have that right. You choose to share it with her. Your sister is disrespecting your boundaries in a really aggressive way. Now, for the update. Here's what happened. It's been almost a week since the whole thing with my sister went down. I was just minding my own business, trying to avoid drama, when I got this group text from my parents. Turns out they were planning a family dinner for the weekend. It was supposed to be a big deal since it was to celebrate my dad's promotion at work. Good for him, right? But honestly, I was feeling super anxious about seeing my sister again. We definitely needed to talk things out, but I wasn't sure if that was going to happen anytime soon. I can't believe my parents thought a family dinner was a good idea right now. The day of the dinner, I decided to show up early to help set up. I figured it would give me something to do and maybe keep me out of any potential drama. As I was arranging the dining room, I heard my sister on the phone in another room, and she was speaking loudly. She was talking to someone, and I could catch snippets of the conversation. It sounded like she was telling someone about my behavior at the doctor's office. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but she was just so loud. She was saying that I always tried to make her look bad in front of the family. I felt so uneasy hearing that, but I didn't want to confront her about it in the middle of everything. It wasn't the right time. More family members started to arrive, including my brother-in-law. He greeted me, but he seemed really distant. I can't even explain it, but it was like there was this wall between us. During dinner, I could feel my sister's eyes on me. She kept glancing my way, and it felt so uncomfortable. My dad gave this really nice speech about family support and togetherness, and I felt like I should be feeling all the warm fuzzies, but I was just on edge. After dinner, my sister initiated a toast and made this really pointed comment about like real family members. It was so obvious that she was talking about me. I felt the dig, but I just stayed silent. I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction of reacting. Then my mom asked everyone to share something positive about each other. My sister took that opportunity to praise her husband, but made this backhanded comment about me. The brother-in-law awkwardly laughed along, but he didn't engage with me at all. After dinner, I went to help clean up. I just wanted to avoid any conflict. But then my sister followed me into the kitchen, ready to confront me about everything, of course. She started off by accusing me of being selfish and disrespectful again. I tried to explain my actions, but I honestly felt like my words were just falling on deaf ears. She was yelling that I was ruining the family dynamic, and I'm just standing there, listening to her. Then my brother-in-law walked into the kitchen, and I thought, okay, maybe this is my chance to get some support from him. But nope, my sister turned her frustration towards him, and he surprisingly sided with her. He said I should apologize. Like, really? I felt so blindsided by his comment. What was he thinking? In response, I just left the kitchen. I felt so isolated and alone. My parents noticed the tension and tried to intervene, but it just made things worse. My dad suggested a family meeting to discuss everything, but my sister was like, nope, not happening. She said she didn't want to discuss anything with me anymore. I just felt defeated, so I decided to leave the dinner earlier than planned. I just couldn't deal with any more of it. That night, the family group chat lit up with messages from my sister. She accused me of being an attention seeker and even threatened to cut ties. My parents tried to mediate, but they got backlash from my sister, who was so mad that they weren't taking her side. My brother-in-law even sent me a message implying that I should take a step back from family events. I just muted the family group chat. I couldn't deal with any more of this. Then, a couple of days ago, my sister sent me a message saying she had made plans to go on vacation with our parents without me. Can you believe that? Edit. My sister has always been the more dramatic one, but this whole situation is on another level. It's like she's trying to create a rift between us and the rest of the family. My brother-in-law's reaction surprised me too. I've always thought he was more understanding. After the dinner, I've mostly been keeping to myself, just focusing on my work and trying to stay out of the drama. My parents have been supportive, but they're also trying to keep the peace. They suggested a family meeting, but I don't think it's the right time. I'm not ready to face my sister again. Am I the idiot for refusing to cook and clean for my mom's husband who thinks I'm faking my illness? Am I the idiot for not cleaning up after my mom's jealous husband who thinks I'm faking my illness? I, 30-year-old female, am currently living in a shared space with my mom, 54-year-old female, and her husband, 49-year-old male, after running into some medical troubles and no longer being able to afford to live on my own. Yes, I am paying rent/bills to live here. The issues started between me and her husband a few months after I moved in, with him taking every opportunity he could to talk to himself about how I'm such a lazy person, how it must be nice that I'm stuck at home while I'm on medical leave from work, how I'm faking my chronic illness flare-ups to get away with doing nothing, and just generally complaining about my existence anytime I wasn't in my room. So, I started spending all my time in my room, unless my mom was home, and only coming out to talk to her when she got back from work or updating her on my medical stuff. Apparently, her husband has an issue with that as well. He gets mad whenever we talk and just generally acts like a jealous boyfriend, as if I'm trying to steal his girl away, even though she is my mother. It's essentially gotten to the point where I can't even leave my room without him starting something or finding an issue over it. He finds even more issue in the fact that I don't leave my room because he expects me to play Cinderella and clean up after his messes every day and cook dinner for them every night, despite the fact that I cannot stand or walk more than 20 minutes at a time without immense pain and have doctors' orders that I can't do most of what he demands of me because I end up hurting myself more and prolonging my injury. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do more when I'm on restrictions of what I can do after suffering a back injury that I have already had to get 3 surgeries for and am waiting for more of. It's already frustrating feeling like a prisoner in my own body and being stuck living somewhere I don't even want to be. But here is where I might be in the wrong. I ended up getting into a screaming match with her husband after he came home acting like a toddler, slamming doors/cabinets, stomping around, throwing things, and loudly talking negatively about me because I didn't clean the house after getting home from another round of spine injections to try and manage the swelling. A lot of things were said, and my mom came home, and they ended up getting into a huge fight that went on for 3 more days. Now for an update. My mom is saying she threatened divorce and that she'll lose the house without his job to pay for it, and I just really don't know what to do. I'll admit there are some things I can do to help clean that I've stopped doing out of spite, because he talks negatively regardless if I do it or not. And while I would have no issue cooking for my mom, I have no desire to cook for someone who treats me badly for things I can't control, even if I know my refusal isn't helping the problem. I don't want my mom to suffer because of me. So, am I the jerk? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, because it's not like you wanted the back injury, or to live with them, but have you considered that perhaps he didn't want you to live with them either, but your mom overruled him? I get why she would. You need help. But to him, it could feel like he had no choice but to have you in his house, and he's frustrated. It's not nice of him to show it in this way, but I can see why. So I suppose I actually mean no idiots here. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Do you have any other options of a place to stay? Can you record his behavior when your mom is not there? You are medically fragile. He should be helping you, not throwing tantrums and making messes. He's also not 100 years old. He can clean up after himself. Is this marriage recent? Has he managed to run off all your mom's friends? Now, for the update. A week has passed since the fight between my mom and her husband. It's been pretty quiet, and I'm not complaining. I stay in my room as much as possible, avoiding any interactions with him. My mom tries to keep things normal, cooking meals and watching TV, but it's hard when there's so much tension. I can hear them arguing through the thin walls, and sometimes it feels like I'm in the middle of it. He has gotten more passive-aggressive, making comments about my presence in their home. I know he wants me out, and honestly, I want to be out too. But I can't afford it right now, so I just keep my head down and avoid him as much as I can. I decided to go to a family birthday party for my uncle, hoping to escape the atmosphere at home for a bit. I needed a break from the fighting and the cold shoulder from her husband. When I got there, I was relieved to see my cousin Emma. She asked how I was doing, and I just broke down. We talked about everything going on, and she was genuinely concerned for my well-being. Just when I thought I could enjoy the party and forget about my problems for a while, her husband showed up out of nowhere. He wasn't invited, and everyone could feel the shift in the atmosphere. My mom looked flustered but greeted him, trying to make the best of the situation. He made a sarcastic comment about my attendance, which drew everyone's attention. My uncle tried to lighten the mood, but the tension was just too much. Then, during a toast, he accused me of being a burden. Yup, he really said that in front of everyone. My cousin Jake got visibly upset. He stood up and confronted him, asking what the hell was wrong with him. Her husband just brushed him off, claiming he was only trying to motivate me. The argument escalated from there, and pretty soon it was a shouting match. My mom tried to calm them down, but no one was listening. Her voice was drowned out by the chaos. The party quickly became awkward, with guests shifting uncomfortably in their seats. I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to leave early, feeling overwhelmed by the whole thing. As I was leaving, her husband made a snide comment about me bailing out early, and I just kept walking. Back at home, my mom tried to talk about the party, but I wasn't interested in discussing it. We sat in silence, the weight of everything hanging in the air. The next day, I got a message from Emma checking in on me. She mentioned that she heard about the commotion at the party from other family members. Her husband continues to act cold, making snide remarks like nothing happened. Then, my mom confronted her husband about his behavior. She demanded that he apologize, and of course, he refused. He claimed he was only being honest and that I need to toughen up. I overheard the whole thing, and my heart was racing. My mom looked defeated, and he stormed off to another room. With the next family gathering planned for the upcoming holiday, there's a lot of pressure on everyone. My mom expressed hope that the holiday will be peaceful, but I'm not so sure. Edit. I spoke with my mom about her husband's behavior, and she acknowledged that it's been hard on both of us. She promised to keep the peace during the upcoming holiday. My cousin Emma has been supportive, offering to let me stay with her temporarily. I'm considering this option to find some relief. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.